Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellencies, good afternoon. Commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights coincides with the distressing and dire human rights situation in Palestine. As responsible members of the international community, we believe in the importance of respecting and enhancing human rights through multilateral cooperation. That is true for times of peace and during times of war, where the Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols regulate the conduct of war to limit its damages and to protect civilians, forming the core of international humanitarian law. The situation in Palestine shows clear violations of international humanitarian law and breaches of the Geneva Conventions. Israel's atrocities violate basic principles of human rights and our shared humanity. The scale of death and destruction in Gaza is sickening. Reports estimate 18,000 casualties, the majority of whom are women and children. Mass bombardment has rendered much of the Gaza Strip uninhabitable. Housing, schools, churches, and mosques lay in ruin. As the United Nations Secretary General noted in his letter addressed to the Security Council, the healthcare system is collapsing. Shelters are overcrowded and unsafe, and the humanitarian system is near collapse. In addition, 80% of Gaza's population have been forcibly displaced, with little shelter and no access to aid. We must not forget that Palestinians in the West Bank still suffer from violations and intimidation. More than 270 died there since October 7th, and settler assaults have continued. The United Nations Human Rights Office in the occupied Palestinian territory has been monitoring, documenting, and publicly reporting on the horrible conditions. UN experts have warned of the risk of genocide and the threats of not achieving an immediate ceasefire. Allowing this crisis to continue will have a damaging impact on regional peace and security. In fact, international security and the credibility of United Nations bodies are impacted by allowing selective implementation of international law. The situation is unacceptable. This suffering must end. We support the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights' position of calling for an immediate ceasefire and for Israel to ensure the basic needs of Gaza's population. With the emerging international consensus, it is important that we translate that momentum into decisive multilateral action, including in the Human Rights Council. Palestinians have the right to a dignified life, the right to safety, the right to appropriate shelter, the right to basic necessities, and above all, they have the right to self-determination. Currently, all these rights are being violated, while Israeli officials are openly expressing their intention to escalate, advocating reoccupation, more displacement, and more killing. We will continue to call for an immediate ceasefire, ensuring the safe passage for sufficient aid to enter Gaza, releasing all civilian hostages, and placing us on a credible track of just and sustainable peace. Thank you.